You are listening to the AFNB podcast, your personal escape from those tough days, rough days, not so fun days. Kick back and chill with me as we let it go, let it flow, and ask the important question. What do we want to talk about? Welcome to the AFNB podcast, a podcast dedicated to all things entertainment, spirituality, motivation, inspiration, dedication, and most of all, celebration. I'm your host, Eric the Voice, and I would like to welcome you to episode 4 of the AFNB podcast. Now, so far, this podcast is focused mainly on reality, social media, mental health, parenting, the modern workforce, etc., etc. But we tend to forget the main focus of a podcast, the main purpose of a podcast. And that's to provide a form of entertainment, a little bit of an escape from reality. Now, I know podcasts can be educational, they can be spiritual, but we mainly thrive on entertaining our listeners. So today, that's going to be the focus of the podcast. We're going to focus on entertainment. We're going to talk about entertainment. And I have a special guest with me today. As some of you may remember, back in 1996, I believe it was, a movie came out called Sling Blade. It starred Billy Bob Thornton, and fun fact, it was actually based off of a short film called Some Folks Call It a Sling Blade. I just found that out recently myself, and that's from talking to my current guests. But what a lot of people don't know is Sling Blade is actually inspired by a real person. This person really did exist. He is from Arkansas, and he just recently moved to Ohio. He's living in the Youngstown area, and he's been kind of getting familiar with the area. It's a lot different from where he's from. But since we're talking about entertainment, I figured I would bring him on and kind of get him to tell you a little bit about himself and a little bit about his experiences here, his experiences with life. So without further ado, I would like to welcome my very special guest, Mr. Karl Childers. Karl, welcome to the podcast. It's great to have you here.
Thank you for having me on your podcast, sir.
Now, Karl, as I said before, Sling Blade was actually based off of your life story.
Yes, sir.
Now, I know a lot of biopics tend to stray a little bit from accuracy and detail. Do you feel that film left anything out or got anything wrong by any means?
Well, sir, that Billy Bob fella's rightly square with me. They hit the nail on the head pretty much with that life experiences. The only difference, my mother never fed me biscuits and mustard.
Oh, okay. Well, what'd she feed you? Did she feed you anything at all?
Yes, sir. I got fed cornbread and ketchup, a few cups of that sugar water, on account of she couldn't afford no Kool-Aid.
Hold on. Wait a minute. Your mama fed you cornbread and ketchup?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, that counts as child abuse. I can't imagine that being any good.
Actually, sir, I got some cornbread and ketchup in the bag here if you want to try some.
Oh, nope, I'm good, Karl. Thank you. I don't ever want to try that. No offense, but that's not my thing, man. I'll pass.
All right, then.
So, Karl, we were talking earlier about movies and entertainment, you and I, and you had mentioned that you had been watching a few new movies recently. Could you tell us about some of the movies that you checked out?
Yes, sir. I went up to the movie house a few times. Some folks calls it a theater, I calls it a movie house. One of the movies I went to see was this film called Terrifier.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the new Terrifier 3. Okay, what'd you think? Was it any good?
I never was too keen on clowns. Them big old shoes. Them big old noses and them creepy faces. But when I was a little'n, I always thought clowns were for birthday parties. Well, sir, this clown, well, it seemed he always saw red. He goes around just a killing folks left and right. This one young feller, he got chainsawed right up his hind end.
Okay, yeah, well, you know, those Terrifier movies are known for being very gory and, violent, very over the top.
Reckon I don't rightly know what would make a clown want to kill a bunch of people. Maybe his mama was kind of cruel to him, too. Or maybe he just got too tired of them kids running around throwing cake and snot everywhere. Anywho, also got to watching them John Wick movies. Those are pretty good.
Oh, yeah, those are some of my favorites, man. I love those.
They always say, you ought not harm animals in any way. Well, after watching that Keanu Reeves feller handle all them people, it's safe to say that you ought not touch that man's dog. And if you do, don't let him get a hold of no Kaiser blade.
Right. You ain't.
Some folks call it a sling blade. I calls it a Kaiser blade.
Oh, yeah. I got you, man. So, Carl, you just recently moved to Youngstown. How are you liking the area? Have you been doing anything exciting around here?
I got toted up to this smoke shop this past weekend. Some folks calls it a tobacco house. I calls it a smoke shop. They had a lot of things in there. Cigarettes, vapes, all sorts of tobacco pouches and whatnot.
Uh-huh. Now, how did you end up in there? Now, you know what those places are known for selling these days, right?
Mr. Bill Cox said they all sell that marijuana. Some folks calls it weed, I calls it marijuana. Anywho, he suggested I try these things called gummies.
Oh, and how was that?
Well, sir, Mr. Bill Cox said that them gummies are supposed to make you feel pretty good. I asked that young feller at the register about it. He gave me a small bag. Then he said when you eat it, you ought to start off by taking small pieces on your first time instead of taking the whole thing, on account of it being my first time and all. I got back to the house. I cut off a small piece for myself. Wasn't much bigger than a squirrel. The bag said to wait 30 minutes for the effects to kick in. Well, sir, 35 minutes had passed. I reckon I didn't feel a thing. So I figured I'd take me one more bigger piece than that squirrel bite I had before.
Whoa, Carl, you are not supposed to do that. You are never supposed to do that.
Yes, sir. That's what Mr. Bill Cox said, too. Well, I reckon I should have listened to them boys, because after about 10 minutes of me taking that extra piece, them feelings started to take hold. I looked down at the floor. That floor started moving. Got to wiggling around like something was wrong with it. I figured it was just my imagination. So I ran back into the kitchen and kindly grabbed me something other to eat. Had me some of that cornbread and ketchup. A little bit of that Popeye's chicken from up the street there, Summers. I figured that would help calm the appetite. But that only made the effects worse. I started looking out of the window, watching all them cars zip by. All them lights. Next thing, them cars started slowing down. Moving in slow motion like them fancy Matrix movies. Well, sir, after what felt like 3 hours of me watching my carpet wiggle and float, and them cars zipping in slow motion, I slowly faded out. I don't rightly know what will make a man want to eat candy that makes your rug turn into 1,000 snakes. Seems rightly funny to me.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
Not funny, ha, funny queer.
Whoa, oh, hey, Carl, whoa, we can't, we don't say that word these days. My apologies. We're gonna move on.
All right, then.
So, Carl, nowadays I've noticed that a lot of entertainment, both film and music, but mostly film, seems to always have an agenda behind it. Like with movies, they always seem to race swap or gender swap just to pander to like a modern audience. Or taking certain characters that we grew up loving and all of a sudden stripping their identities away from them and, just making them fit what they feel people would like today. I feel like entertainment nowadays, it's not even entertaining that much anymore. It's always preachy in some kind of way. How do you feel about that?
Well, sir, I reckon in our younger days, times were easier. Young'uns were young'uns. Your mama and your daddy toted you to the movie house. Movies were supposed to be fun. Got you out and away from how kind of cruel the world could be. Folks like Superman, Terminator, all them fellas were superheroes. Made kids smile. That would make your mama and your daddy smile too. Folks were family. These days, family just ain't the same no more. Movies ain't the same neither. You ought not have to go see a movie and have a bad time because of something being preached to you. Kids today, I reckon a lot of them are heading down a dark path. Growing up too fast on account of them raising themselves. A man once said it takes a village to raise a child. I reckon that'd be a hard thing to do when the village is pretty much no count. Kids are in love with folk that aren't real these days. Movies ain't real, but life is. I reckon you ought not try to mix them both together and just keep them as they be.
Amen, brother.
I reckon folks rely too much on things that ain't real, so they can ignore what is real. Life was cruel to me from time to time. Folks may support me quite a bit, but I found a way to make it work for me. I made friends, helped out folks, then got right with the Lord.
Yeah, life knocks us down every once in a while, right? As long as we get back up and make the best of what we got, that's all that matters.
Yes, sir, I reckon so.
I mean, none of us really had a best of realities, which is why entertainment is so important. It's an escape from reality. Getting lost in a world that is fake, but regardless, it still captivates you. It takes your mind off all all your problems long enough for at least a mental recharge, which is what I feel a lot of us need. Like, we all need a mental recharge every now and again. But eventually, at the end of the day, we still have to tell ourselves the real world is still out there. Like you said, just keep them separate.
Yes, sir.
Folks, as I said before, we are a podcast dedicated to any and all things entertainment, spirituality, education, dedication, motivation, but most of all, celebration. We just gave you all of that in one session. Carl, you're a God-fearing man, right?
Yes, sir.
I want you to take us home with some good words. Give us a reason to inspire.
Inspiration comes from within oneself. Be positive. When you're positive, I reckon good things will happen.
Carl, thank you for blessing us today.
I reckon I thank you for having me, sir.
Folks, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. I want to thank y'all so much for tuning in to today's episode. I hope you had just as much fun as we did. And always remember, life is tough. It's tough for everybody. But we always find ways to keep ourselves entertained. Sometimes we need that source of entertainment. It's our escape from reality. There's nothing wrong with escaping reality every now and again. Sometimes escaping that reality, like we said, it gives you a mental recharge. And there's nothing more important, especially if you're going through a rough patch, a mental recharge. Trust me, that will get you further to where you need to be. Always take care of yourself. Always stay true and always stay blessed. And always remember, AFNB, Always forward, never back. Peace. Folks, I hope you enjoyed this week's podcast. I know I did. Please don't be a stranger. Hit that follow button because there is plenty more to come from here. Deuces.